What's up, everybody? This is Brad, and this is Popcorn Dogs. That was a not cool intro. Try again. You start it.
What up, everybody? What up, everybody? This is Tyler, and this is Popcorn Dogs.
Popcorn Dogs, for those that don't know, is a silly pun with popcorn and corn dogs.
Corn dogs, really?
Popcorn Dogs.
I've never put that together. I thought it was popcorn for movies, and because we're dogs.
When someone tries to have me explain what Elden Dogs means, I'm like,
Do you have
You ever heard of raw dogging it? Let's start there. Popcorn Dogs.
Well, you learn something new every day.
That's why with Popcorn Dogs, there's like no space between popcorn and dogs, but the P, C, and D are all capitalized in the logo.
Oh, the more you know.
What are we here to talk about today, Tyler?
We are going to talk about a nice little show on Netflix called Midnight Mass.
Oh, boy.
It is a product of the Flanagan brothers.
Yep.
And we had the privilege of speaking to Jamie at GDQ
Sure did.
in Minneapolis. What was that, 2-3 weeks ago now?
Time flies.
Yeah. But he was one of the writers on the show, and it was the first thing that he had written that I had seen, and he set the bar real high.
Yeah.
Midnight Mass is phenomenal, and I think I've said it on Popcorn Dogs before. I do not like binging shows. I like the weekly rollout. I like being able to digest my episode and talk to my friends about it. I watched all of Midnight Mass in one day.
Intense.
You just can't stop.
Yes. Huge fan of Mike Flanagan, the creator and director of this series. He also did The Haunting of Bly Manor, which was also written with Jamie. The Haunting of Hill House, which is probably my favorite it's in my top 3 shows of all time. I think I like Hill House more than Midnight Mass. I think Midnight Mass they're both phenomenal.
Yeah.
But also directed Dr. Sleep, Gerald's Game,
Oculus,
Ouija Beginnings or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hush.
I always forget about Hush, and that is a phenomenal movie.
Next time you watch Hush, you'll notice that the main character mentions that they're writing a book they had written a book called Midnight Mass.
Really?
And if you watch Gerald's Game again, a book that tips over when she's strapped to the bed is a novel of Midnight Mass. Because Mike Flanagan was trying to get this made for a long time. This is an idea that he had in the back of his mind for quite a while. Midnight Mass, just little information on the top. American Gothic supernatural horror streaming TV miniseries, released September 24th, 2021. It's summertime. Why are people outside working on stuff?
Yeah.
It's the weekend. Why don't you go inside and podcast? Yes. Written by Mike Flanagan, James Flanagan, Elon Gale, Danny Parker, and Jeff Howard. A fantastic cast. Yeah. After the success of the previous shows, Midnight Mass, Mike was able to start working on one of his dream projects. Production was originally scheduled to start in March of 2020, but due to COVID was delayed until August 17th that year. Filmed in Vancouver, British Columbia, finished wrapping December 15th, 2020. So about 4-month shooting schedule for a lot of show.
Yeah.
Production built the town set at Gary Point Park, a seaside public area outside Vancouver, which stood in for Crockett Island. Original music by the Newton Brothers, Andy Grush and Taylor Newton Stewart. Reimagined Christian hymns and Neil Diamond, baby.
Yeah.
Yes. Crockett Island is an island in the United States located in Washington. As of the events of the show, it has a population of 127 and is located 30 miles from any other landmass. That's most of just like the big information. Midnight Mass is a good show.
It is. I didn't really know what kind of show I was getting into. If it was going to be supernatural with the name Midnight Mass, I didn't know if we were going to get into like exorcism territory. Delightfully surprised.
Because I'm from a small town, raised Catholic. So Midnight Mass to me is that one night of the year, like around Christmas, when you actually go at midnight on Christmas Eve.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yes, midnight mass is a thing on Christmas Eve. You can go like have Christmas happen at midnight and you're actually at church.
I did not know that was a real thing. I thought it was a clever thing for the show.
It's not something that actually happens in Easter, but also most priests aren't vampires.
Yeah, which, I mean, if you are, midnight mass is going to be real beneficial.
It's going to be a good thing for you.
It's going to be a necessary thing for you.
Midnight mass is a slow burn show, incredibly personal show for the creators, and you can tell that from the get-go. I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew it had a priest on the front, and it said mass, and it was from one of my favorite horror directors, is what I knew going into this.
So, I mean, that's clear indication it's going to be a show that you would at least be interested in.
At least interested in. And, yeah, I mean, episode 1, we get introduced right away to our main character, Riley Flynn, who is played by Zach Gilford. Riley is the prodigal son, the son who went off and did some sort of money stuff his dad does not understand.
Some Silicon Valley tech?
What's a startup, Dad? It's like, well, I didn't understand it. You didn't tell me, and I felt dumb.
Also, we should hug.
But it's going to be weird. It's not going to be a good hug. But I don't know how to express my feelings. Yeah, the opening shot of the show is a car accident. A drunk driver, our main character, of course survives, and the police officer says, why does like the bad ones always live? And the like innocent teenager, she was killed.
It's because he was drunk and he didn't brace for impact.
Yeah, he mentions later, he's like, I didn't even slow down. Like, I was so far gone, I didn't even like know what was happening. And yeah, it's a pretty intense start.
Yeah. Having the show start in LA, I think it was, right? He's at.
Oh my God, it was somehow recording everything I was saying on my.
Are you serious?
I didn't mean to. Sorry, go ahead.
Having the show start in LA like that, and having, you can, if I remember correctly, you can see the city behind. He's looking at it as she's receiving CPR, juxtaposition with Crockett Island and how secluded and cold and dreary it is.
And small.
Yeah. And
personal and tiny and
it's a fast start to a slow burn.
It's also just one of those things where being on an island, they're able to also, this could be set like almost any time because it's so far off the mainland. I don't imagine they have cell service out there at all.
They have the one tower.
And it's so isolated that they can get away with some weird stuff. But even the imagery in that opening shot, because he sees the girl's face and the red and blue lights flashing over it with like the glass embedded in it. And yeah, we see this image haunting Riley for the entirety of the show.
And they do a really neat camera turn the first time you see her as like a haunting spirit where, it rotates 90 degrees where he's laying on his side sleeping in a prison cell. Yeah. And it looks like she's standing on the wall until it corrects with his point of view.
Which is great, bringing us into his point of view.
Yeah.
Cinematography, it's usually subdued until it's not. They'll just do like these big, grand shots with a lot of thought and meaning behind them. But then we go to Crockpot, the Crockett Island. A whole bunch of well-meaning small town people who are isolated. Outside of Sheriff Hassan, I don't think that they've met anyone outside of their comfort zone in a long time.
No. And Crockpot is just a very small detail. It's what they call their town.
The Crockett Island.
Their island. But it's little things like that make the world feel really lived in because the portrayals from all the actors are top notch in this.
Yeah.
You're hard pressed to find a bad actor in this show. So with that kind of talent, these little details that you'll see throughout the entire show flesh out the world and make it so believable. And I think because when we talked to Jamie in Minneapolis, and this was a very personal show for him and his brother, it's a lot of their childhood in it. Yeah. That comes through too. So immediately when you're introduced to Crockett Island or the Crockpot, it is believable instantaneously.
Yeah.
You believe you're there. The characters feel authentic. The world looks real. And that helps settle you in for what is next to come.
You believe it. This was the town I lived in. I was on an island, but when we get introduced almost immediately to Riley's family, we have the wonderful Henry Thomas as his father, Ed Flynn. We have Kristen Lehman as Annie Flynn, and his little brother is Igby Rigney, I think is how you say it, as Warren Flynn. But she talks a lot. The dad nods a lot, has a bad back, but doesn't talk about it.
It's the American family.
It's just the most American family ever. And she's so excited he's coming home, and she's on the phone with her son. She's like, come here. And then the dad's like, just shakes his head. No, he was outside.
Yeah.
He's excited. He's excited though.
He's going out to smoke a cigarette.
He's really excited though. We're all excited. And he's returning home, which that's a tough thing for a character. He's been in jail for 2-3 years. And to go back to where you grew up and face your childhood, face your demons. I mean, going back home after you've been gone for a while is just like a recipe for bringing all your old feelings back. If you're someone who's far away. So you live fairly close to a lot where you grew up, right?
Yeah. But I moved to Florida at 18, and I definitely could understand moving back home. I feel the smaller the town, the bigger the distance you travel, the bigger sense of failure you have when you come back.
Yeah.
And that's got to be weighing on Riley's mind when he rolls in, especially since a town of 127 people. That everyone knows what you did.
Everybody has been talking about it. Everybody has judgment.
Yeah. It's the most interesting thing to happen to the community probably since the community.
One thing I know about small town churches is they all talk a big game, but they are all just feeling better when other people don't do well. And not as a blanket statement. There are, of course, good Christians as well. But I also know that a lot of them like, wow, did you see what he did? He's coming back. Like, isn't that horrible what happened?
I can't believe he did that.
I can't believe that. But she's so great, and it'll be good for him. But there's all just like a lot of gossip, and I mean, luckily there's Joe Colley to just really bring everybody. Like, there's the town drunk that everyone focuses on. So at least Riley's not the main focus all the time.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, it's just that small town life where everyone's dirty laundry is everyone's business all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, this town is dying.
People are leaving in droves.
And why would people move there?
Yeah, it's because you were born there and this is just life.
It's either a drunk driving murder or you're running away from a horrible spouse and you're pregnant.
Yeah.
That's the only two people that come back.
But if you're going to run away from a horrible spouse, why would you go to an island? I mean, yeah, you're secluded, but you really got nowhere to run then.
But also, you're surrounded by 100 people who knew your mom.
Yeah.
And there will be protection there.
Yeah, that's true.
If I was like tracking somebody, I'm like, they went on an island 30 miles out. It's like, I guess I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
But you know what? Mad props. These kids are finding a weed dealer out there because that is tough.
Yeah.
These kids found it.
And his name's Bull.
He goes missing, and they're like, yeah, he went by Bull, but he was a good guy. And like, his name was Bull?
You mean he was selling the marijuana?
At least it wasn't water bong.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. We get introduced to a lot of characters here. Kate Siegel's character, she is Riley's friend from childhood. She plays Erin Green. She's the one who came back. She's running away from a spouse. Sheriff Hassan is Rahul Kohli. He is a Muslim sheriff who was heavily persecuted in the big city he was working at, and he just wanted to get away from all that. If you're in America, it's hard to get away from xenophobia and racism.
Yeah. And his background directly ties, because he was from New York, and 9/11 happened, and because of his ethnicity and religion, they made a pretty tight package with his backstory, and why he is now at Crockett Island and why he doesn't carry a gun and everything.
Because that's a hard sell too. Like, why are you here?
Yeah, why would you leave New York and come to this piddly little island?
And even why did you leave New York? Whatever. But why did you come here?
Yeah. I mean, most people go to Jersey or Pittsburgh or Philly. I don't know what's over Boston.
Yeah. We find out that our the priest, Monsignor Pruitt, he's supposed to be arriving back that same day. But he doesn't show up. Beverly Keane is very concerned. She is the villain of the show. Samantha Sloyan, God, she's so good.
Yeah. When I hate a character as much as I hate Beverly Keane,
yeah,
that you've done something right. I'm looking at you, Joffrey Baratheon. Like, there's a special kind of actor that can really just bring hatred out of you. Like, I fucking hate that character.
It's because everybody knows a Beverly Keane.
That's true. And everybody knows a spoiled little brat like Joffrey.
Who looks like, she looks down on people, and she thinks she's better than everybody. And she has weaseled her way in to be the number 2 just because nobody else wants to be the number 2 at the church. And
to her, it's because she is better and chosen.
She's so religious. She's better. The kind of person that pulls Bible verses out of their ass to try and justify all the shitty things they do. Ecclesiastes 13:47, thou shalt suck my dick.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, what about this one? And they're like, you must lay with a donkey balls. And that's like, there's something like that in the Bible too. And like, that one doesn't count.
I was thinking about that, how people can just pull Bible verses out of their ass like that.
Apply them to any, well, you talk about memorizing them?
Yeah. That and apply them to things like that is incredible. And then I was like, I can basically quote all of Step Brothers at any given moment. So I guess it's just, you got to pick your media.
I mean, some people quote Romans. Some people say, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
And
you want to do Karate in the Garage?
Betwixt the two, there's not a lot of meeting.
No, it's whatever floats your boat. Ezekiel's 15:4. I don't know.
And I love that this show isn't just a negative feelings about religion either. It's good. It does. Monsignor Pruitt is one of the most complicated, nuanced characters. Not a great guy, Father Paul, but believes he is doing the right thing.
Best intentions in his mind.
Perfect rationalization and the most easy person to listen to. His conviction and belief in his teachings and in his sermons sell me. I'm like, yeah, sure. And well written and stunningly performed.
Yeah, my God.
I just love the slow mystery that is building up too. So Beverly Keane is like assaulting Sturge in the dock. Well, he was supposed to be here. And he's like, yeah, he's not. Maybe he was on the other one. She's like, no, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just Sturge.
Yeah. I didn't throw him overboard, if that's what you're asking.
I don't know what's going on here, Bev. But this other man showed up earlier with a crate. And he drags it into the Father or Monsignor Pruitt's house, and he knocks on the crate, and the crate knocks back.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, okay, buckle up. Here we go.
And you're like, oh, something's going on here.
I think there's something in that fucking crate. I don't know about you.
I think there might be something in there. It's a slow burn, though, at first. It's a lot of building up your characters and getting familiar. We get introduced to Joe Colley, who's played by Robert Longstreet. He has the dog. He is the hopeless town drunk, but you can tell he's a good guy.
He's not like a mean drunk.
He calls Sheriff Hassan Sharif, and it's not from like a negative space. It's not like talking down at him. It's just acknowledging he's Muslim and like kind of going along with what the sheriff doesn't not like him, which is a good sign. But it's one of those things where uses an epithet which is negative, but it's actually endearing. Yeah. And they get along with each other. Like Sheriff San's like locks him up and lets him out every day. He's like, I'm not going to press charges. You're trying to break into the convenience store again.
Yeah.
And maybe you should be doing something to that guy, but
he doesn't even lock the cell for him. He's like, why you got me locked up in here? And then Sheriff just slides the door. He's like, you're not.
Yeah. You're just trying to break in again and steal alcohol from the one place in town that there is alcohol for sale. I can't imagine.
And you know what they sell? Old Milwaukee.
Do they?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Great for them.
Yeah.
This show is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get introduced to Joe Cawley, the mayor, Mayor Scarborough, and his wife. He is the most helpless, hapless Fargo motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
I get major Fargo vibes from him.
Well, how did he get elected? And then it's like, because there's probably, he was the only guy who was like, I'll do it.
Yep, the church liked him and he had a mustache.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that this actually could be part of the oil thing. And the way he talks and just like tries to solve problems with not knowing anything is very funny.
It's like, shut up, the adults are talking.
Yeah. It's just Fargo. It's just a well-meaning idiot.
Yeah.
His daughter, though, Lisa Scarborough, we find out she was shot by Joe Cawley on accident because he was out there drunk hunting, which is a South Dakota pastime.
I mean, I was going to say, in the Midwest, it's kind of how you hunt, right?
You don't say it.
But you know.
But you know. Drunk fishing, though, now that is a national
totally
pastime.
safe. You definitely can't drown.
He accidentally paralyzed this girl, and he is wallowing in self-pity from this, and she is just trying to be a good Christian about it. But at the end of the first episode, we get Riley's little brother and his friends get the weed from Bull.
Yeah.
And they go out to the separate little island.
What do they call those? The barrow?
Maybe the barrows.
The barrows.
And it's like a cat island, which I love. There's just like stray cats everywhere out there. But he also sees a couple eyes in the bushes.
Yeah, and it's one of about maybe 6 jump scares that they execute this way that happens so fast.
Yeah.
That there's really no lead up to it, and it's just over. And it's like a jolt of adrenaline real fast.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
The music, the little stinger they use is perfect every time. It's just like, fuck, I wasn't ready for that.
Plus, if you're just stoned by a fire.
I've been there.
And if you're just like, I think I saw something like, yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, don't say that.
Yeah, don't. That's bad.
Yeah.
Turn the music up.
Maybe we should go home.
Yeah, but Father Paul is the new priest. Monsignor Pruitt's out of town.
Is Monsignor a Catholic term?
They never used Monsignor where I grew up. I don't know the difference. I guess Monsignor might just be more elder or have more presence. But he goes by Father Paul when he comes back, because we'll find out later it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Yep. But Father Paul, it's supposed to be Monsignor Pruitt's first day back, and Father Paul walks in wearing like the gold robes. And Beverly Keene's like, I'm sorry. Hi, it's great to have you, but why are you wearing the celebration robes? It's not the proper week.
Yeah, and you violated dress code.
And she's right. Like, that is a thing.
They have color-coordinated robes.
For certain days, like certain festive celebrations. That's a thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I assumed it was probably true.
My mom probably would have noticed.
Really?
She probably would have noticed. She's old school. She is Flynn's mom. She's Riley's mom.
Yeah, that went right over my head.
Yeah. This show has a lot of good subtleties, and he's like, I couldn't find it. And, Monsignor Pruitt was kind of like an old guy, so maybe he misplaced it.
Yeah.
There's an epic storm, though, and they're bracing for the storm. Riley thinks he sees Monsignor Pruitt wandering around outside. And it turns out he did, but it was actually Father Paul dressed in the same outfit and at the same height because they're the same guy. But a horrible storm happened, and it washed up a shitload of dead cats.
Yeah.
Because it turns out the angel was eating all the cats.
It's a tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time.
You meet an angel in a dark cave during a sandstorm when you're on a holy pilgrimage.
step up.
And you bring them back home to show off to your new friends that
you bribe thousands of dollars to random people to get a crate. Don't open it. Because getting people like across country lines, across the water.
Just getting through customs.
It's a lot of bribes that happen. Some palms were greased.
Could you imagine, like, you have a chest that's big enough to fit a vampire in it. And they're like, is that yours? You taking that on the boat? And you're like, yeah, don't open that. I definitely wouldn't open that.
Don't look in there.
You know we got to open it now, right? Like, I promise you.
And they probably died. Someone probably did open it.
Yeah, and then it's like, shit. Well, at least you're not hungry for the journey now, right, bud?
Yeah,
back in your crate.
There's a lot of mysteries about their relationship that I'm curious about. But, I mean, he brings this thing back and just unleashes it on the city, or on the town. But also, if your town is struggling, are you going to raise money to send the elderly, maybe dementia-ridden priest to the Holy Land?
Probably not. I mean, I wouldn't.
I want a basketball court.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would like better cell reception. Could we get some broadband internet?
We have dial-up out here, motherfucker.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things when you get tight-knit religious communities. Not that it's a bad thing or anything, but a lot of focus goes into churches like that. I've seen towns like that in the South where I used to live, and even smaller towns in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a thing where the church comes first in a lot of communities. So
yeah, it's struggling little island, and they're like, we're sending him to Jerusalem.
You know, he's like 9,000 years old. Like, he's alone. We should at least send a chaperone.
And it goes very bad when he goes out there.
That was a hard scene to kind of watch because the actor who plays older Monsignor Druitt.
I don't know if it's the same guy or not.
It can't be, right?
I think it might be.
If that's him, just with makeup on. What is this? Hamish? Is his name?
Hamish Linklater?
He seems so lost when he gets to the wall in Jerusalem.
He's with a group and he just disappears.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that dude's fucking gone.
Yeah, he's overwhelmed. I mean, to finally achieve the pilgrimage for a holy man like that has got to be huge. Yeah. But it's almost like he understands that he can't understand it anymore.
A true priest. Yeah. A true believes in the good messages and is trying to save souls, which noble cause. But the dude wanders out into the desert, into a sandstorm. Terrifying. And the sandstorm unearths an ancient tomb, and he stumbles in this tomb, and he's just got matches, and he's like lighting this up, and he sees, I mean, it's a vampire. I mean, we can church it up all you want.
It is a frightening vampire.
And from my understanding, descriptions of angels in the Bible are not far off from what is depicted here.
It's either this or the weird things with like a shit ton of eyes.
Yeah, I love, though, that modern Christian imagery. Jesus is so white.
Yeah.
Look at his beautiful hair.
Do you need to look at a map?
Yeah, angels might have a lot of eyes, but this one, he's very white. Isn't he beautiful? He's got pecs.
He's got delts, pecs, and traps.
Angels are supposed to be terrifying to look at.
Yeah, and they mention it in Midnight Mass several times to justify what is happening in seeing the angel, and I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah.
That in the Bible, apparently, when people see angels, they freak out.
Yeah.
Multiple different times. I think Abraham is the one that I am familiar with that freaks out. Isn't he trying to like kill his kid or something?
Is that the one with the burning bush?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he sees
then right when he's about to kill his kid, he's like, "Don't do it, dude. Test."
That's when Ashton Kutcher came out from behind the rock and was like, "Dude, we almost fucking got you.
You were gonna kill your kid.
Oh God, you probably feel so stupid. Can we air this on TV?
You called your mom and you were crying, Justin Timberlake. You idiot." But he finds a fucking vampire demon angel thing, some old world monster, which I love.
Yeah.
I fucking love this shit.
Yeah, if you're going to give me cosmic horror, Give me the fear of the unknown, or give me an ancient creature that is heavy metal looking as fuck.
And I think clearly a lot of the myths of the Bible in this universe are based like this was an angel. Things that are written about in the Bible where they said Abraham saw an angel. It was one of these fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love that a lot of the imagery from the Bible that people think would have been impossible or outlandish, like maybe there was just like real fucking monsters out there.
Yeah. Well, it was like Dan Carlin's Hardcore History when he talks about the Romans fighting the Gauls. The two peoples, like the two different civilizations, they looked so much different than each other. And he talks about it with the Mongolians too, when they would invade, that they were described as like aliens.
Yeah.
Because people had never seen anything like that. And now, through retrospect in time, we're like, yeah, those are just neighbors. Like
Yeah.
A couple 1,000 miles away. So who knows what interpretations happened when you go even further back.
Yeah. Carl Sagan is a big influence on Riley's character in this, but also in my personal life. And when you look at evolutionary lines, just the fact that the angel walks upright, 2 legs, 2 arms, eyes in the same spot, nose, mouth, ears, everything is the same spot, common evolutionary line, or derived from that or influenced by that, but they share an ancestry, at least.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it that way.
That's the implications of aliens looking like humans. I'm like, we can play your game, but that means further back, something had to have happened that like made them coalesce. Mass Effect is great at having weird aliens, but also like when I see the like 3 or 4 main ones, which all have eyes in the same spots and this and that, I'm like, something was influencing evolution at that point.
Yeah.
And that was Jeebus.
Jeebus.
It was Jeebus. But he finds this angel, and the angel's like, let me suck your blood, baby. And
does so without any permission and almost immediately.
Yeah, well, think about how starved for blood that thing would be.
True, yeah.
Thousands of years.
It's been down there.
And you see how he feasts in the show where once he starts feeding, you can straight up attack him and he won't respond.
Yeah, it's bloodlust.
Yep.
He is fixated and zoned in.
And yeah, it's a vampire show. We find this out fairly soon. I think it's like 3rd episode. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
What's happening is we're getting the blood of the angel, because the angel is just like dripping his blood into the wine, the blood of Christ.
Yeah.
And Monsignor Pruitt is serving this blood to the people. So everyone that goes to church, Annie Flynn takes her glasses off. She can see again.
Yep. And it's subtle things at first. Like she's reading a book and she has to take her glasses off. She's just like, what the fuck? And then I'm good without them.
Yep.
Her dad in one of the shots stands up real quick and is just kind of like, oh, wow.
Starts dancing.
Yeah.
But also when I hear Holly Holy by Neil Diamond,
I'm a dance.
I might dance a little bit.
Oh, I'm a dance.
That montage is one of my favorite things in the show. Because it's just people slowly getting healed, and a breaking point happens when Monsignor Pruitt just has this fucking look on his face. It's like he's going to bring the communion to the paralyzed girl, to Lisa, and he just steps away. He's like, come and get it. And everyone's like, whoa, fuck off, bro. You can't do that.
That's
like,
rude as fuck, dude.
And he's like, fuck you. He's like, no, stand up. Stand up. And she does. That's like a ballsy move, though.
Yeah.
But he also knows.
What's great, though, is you don't know. Like, at the time, I didn't know that he knew.
Yeah.
I thought, like, okay, he's trying, like, maybe his ego's taken over. Like, I didn't know what route they were going to take his character of the show yet.
Yeah.
Because this is still pretty early on in the run. So I didn't know that he knew for sure.
Yeah.
I thought he was just being kind of a prick.
Yeah.
Getting a little self-righteous and like a little too into himself. In retrospect, seeing how the show plans out, I'm like, this is fucking brilliant pacing.
It's so good.
It's one of the ironies where the character knows something, but the audience doesn't. I forget. There's like 3 different types of irony.
It's funny that also Monsignor, or Father Paul at this point, he goes up and everyone's like, oh, yes, Lisa Scarborough, Monsignor Pruitt talked about you so much. It's like, so you're telling me this dementia-ridden guy explained all of Riley Flynn's childhood to you? And he sells it, though. He's like, oh, yes, he talked about you often, about how you were like this kind of a person and you had this happen to you. And he's invested in the community. And there's another character we didn't mention yet, Dr. Sarah Gunning. She is an important character. She's a doctor. And we find out that she is Monsignor Pruitt's
bastard child
with Mildred Gunning. Because if you hire a young actress to play an old lady and the makeup is pretty good, just name her Mildred and it'll help sell it.
Yep. I mean, sell the Phyllis or something.
Yep.
A name that doesn't get used anymore.
Yep. Here is Old Lady Gunning.
And here in the leading role, we have Old Man Adolf. And they're like, you can't do that.
No, that's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. But there is a convergence happening with Riley and Monsignor Pruitt, Father Paul. He is starting a like Alcohol's Anonymous chapter because Riley has to do these classes. And he's like, all right, I can get him to pray.
Yeah.
I can make him pray if he comes to classes here. It's all building towards this big moment where people are dying, people are missing, and Riley is going to confront Father Paul for lying about something with Joe because Joe has been eaten. I mean, we don't have time to talk about the whole show.
Yeah.
Father Paul might have eaten Joe.
He did.
Okay, he did.
Yeah. And it was one of the better moments of the show because they do that really, it goes black and then they cut back to it for like one more second and he's like really gnawing down on him. And I was like, oh, geez, that was graphic.
Yeah. And at some point, Father Paul's like, am I the baddie?
Oh, shit. He was looking in the mirror. He's like, I'm the bad guy.
And Beverly Keene is the one who's like, no, this is great. People need to die. This is what God's plan is for people.
She's just so ready to cover up a murder.
And you know that she was the one who poisoned Father Paul and killed him, right? Did you pick that up?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, because she kills Joe Colley's dog with the rat poison.
Yeah.
And then Father Paul becomes very ill and falls as well. And because she sees the miracles happening and she thinks that if it's real, he would not be able to die. He would like come back. So she purposely poisons him with the rat poison.
No shit.
Yeah, because you see her with the poison multiple times even after the dog. And but it's when you come back from that, like when you die and come back, that's when you get triggered like I desperately need blood.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that's when he can't hold it back anymore. And
you can like see the throbbing veins in the neck. It like glows.
All the lights glow.
Yeah.
They're like you can see miracles and stuff.
No, you're just transforming into almost a different species.
It's called LSD.
Have you tried it?
Or mushrooms, if you will. Yes, visions, if you want.
Oh, man. Yeah. So he kills Joe Colley and church service has to stop because he's allergic to the sun now. Burns his skin pretty good.
He's really sick. We're only doing mass at midnight.
Yeah. And the town buys it because the miracles are working. People are getting better. Sure, we lost an alcoholic and that guy who sold weed.
Where is Bull? No one cares.
No, we don't care.
Don't go in that one house.
Yeah. Hey, remember when all the dead cats washed up on the shore?
Pass.
Let's go to church at midnight.
Yep. Let's go along with this. But Riley catches him in a lie because Joe's sister passed away and Father Paul's like, oh, I went to go visit his sister. So Riley goes to confront him at the end of the night, like in the middle of the night.
And he's going to go confront him or he's going to go to Miss Green's.
Yes, Miss Green's. Yeah, because him and Aaron have been reconnecting and bonding and talking about the meaning of life and death and beautiful monologues. The angel's there, kills him. And
that's when I was like, I guess I'm not sleeping tonight.
I love it when Beverly's like, well, him? We're going to save him? Well, if you say so, but I think you're fucking wrong.
It's like, Bev, take a chill pill,
like, it's a gift, Riley. You're going to like it. She's so crazy.
Yeah. Did you think Riley was dead first time you watched it?
He was missing. I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think.
I was like, they really, because Riley is kind of played up to be the main character at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That's your perception. And they kind of turn it on its head as the show goes on. And he still plays a major part, but I was like, yo, they really just got rid of the main character? Like, this is like episode 5.
Yep.
What's going on?
And he does come back, but you know he's a vampire at this point.
And it's a nice little thing they did with him having AA meetings with Father Paul and then having like the ultimate AA meeting where it's like, all right, listen, you're a fucking vampire now.
Yep.
Like, we got to talk about this and you can't leave or the sun will melt your face.
They're both incredibly honest and aggressive with each other, which I really like those scenes between the two actors. And Riley eats the blood of Sturge, the dirtiest salvation you can get.
Yeah. Probably tastes like crab.
Yeah. It's not that holy salvation. It is a boxed it's a boxed blood of Christ there. It is not a bottle of Christ.
You bought that in bulk at the Costco?
That is a Franzia salvation you're getting there from Sturge. Yeah, things escalate pretty quick from this point. Riley takes Aaron out on the boat, and I know this is one of your favorite scenes.
It is by far my favorite moment of the show.
Yeah.
Riley is having a constant reoccurring dream of him not being able to escape. He feels trapped. He's alone in the water, and he's watching the sunrise. So he takes Miss Green out and explains the whole shebang to her, knowing she's going to think he's crazy. Or he's telling the truth, and he's trapped me out here where I can't escape. And they have this very serious heart-to-heart moment, and I think it's... we flash back to the what happens when you die conversation. Mm-hmm. And if I'm crazy, they flipped him giving the definition of, or his idea versus her.
At the very end, her idea of life after death is changed.
Yes.
But first, hers is very much because turns out these miracles that are happening also remove babies from uteruses because it's at that point seeming like a parasite to the host.
Yeah.
Yep. If you have an alien inside of you, that's a negative thing. But
she has lost her child at this point. So
and there's no sign of it. There's like, no, you were never even pregnant.
Which is wild.
Yeah. And she's like, that's some crazy shit.
And she was spotting at one point in the show. So like she knows that she's had an ultrasound. She's gone to the doctor to like make sure everything's okay. And it still is at that point.
And the doctor's mom is meanwhile 50 years younger and walking around.
So there's signs that things are getting a little bit too weird when Riley takes her out on the boat, and
then he says the entire story to her.
Yes,
and she's like, "If that is all true, then why am I out here?
Is it because you don't want me to? I can't escape. What are you gonna do to me?" Sort of thing, and that's when Riley is like, "It's so I don't want to be alone."
Riley said, "This is are you going to eat me or what is the end game here?" And he's like, "No, this is the only way that I can convince you it's real and convince you to leave."
And then he says, "I did my best."
And the sun rises.
And he burns.
And it burns, and it's intense.
Right before he burns, he sees the face of the girl that he killed, but she is healthy and happy and smiling at him as if she has forgiven him for what has happened. He's punished himself enough. Then it's beautiful, melancholy music playing.
His sins are washed away in the afterlife.
Then we smash cut to him crumbling into ash and Miss Green screaming.
Yeah.
And she should have just kept paddling.
And it's intense and it's horrible. And then at this point, she's trying to convince Dr. Sarah Gunning. She's like, "We gotta fucking leave. This is wrong."
And the doctor's like, "Yeah, my mom is younger than I am. And this blood is boiling in the sunlight.
Yeah, I think something's weird here."
You're probably right.
And they get Sheriff Hassan on board. He's a little more like, "You're telling me you want the Muslim sheriff to go in and call the priest a vampire?"
Just walk that back in your head and just really hear how that sounds.
Say it out loud for me. Say it out loud again, and then really think about what the fuck's going on here.
I'm not going to do that.
But they're all convinced. But at this point, the plan is disable all the boats, disable the cell tower, and they are going to kill everyone in the church that night on Good Friday. I think it's Good Friday before Easter. And if everyone dies, they all become the vampires. They will spread across the planet, and it will be end times, the revelations. It'll be what is foretold to happen in the Bible, where the true believers rise again. And yeah.
And Father Paul gives a very stirring sermon right before this about how they are members of God's army, and he like gets jacked up about it.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of walks off like a coach giving a halftime speech. He's like, all right, let's fucking get back out there. And then he's just gone.
And they hand out Kool-Aid cups this night, and they lock the doors, and the angel walks in
and
in a fucking priest outfit. So I am curious, does Father Paul, like, he talks with the angel, but the angel doesn't ever say anything. And he's like, do you want to wear this shirt or this one?
I think this would look really good on you.
Just shakes his head no. And then it's like the Leonard Skinner shirt. He's like, yes.
Give me that.
Yeah.
Can you cut some bat wings out the back so I can stretch my boys out?
Stretch these boys out.
Probably the most stirring visual in the entire show is the vampire in the robes standing before the mass at midnight. That was pretty fucking heavy metal.
And everyone's like, fuck. Everyone drinks the rat, or the rat poison is what it is.
Yeah, because Sturge goes first, right?
Yep. And he dies violently, and he's like, everyone just chill.
Everybody, hey, calm down. The kids are freaking out.
And some parents are like, yes, we will do it.
Yeah, like the mayor and his wife are like, you just got to drink this poison, baby. You'll be fine.
Luckily, Lisa doesn't. Warren Flynn, Riley's little brother, doesn't. A number of them don't, and they get out of there. Everything starts blowing up. Anyone who's not a believer, they're burning their houses down. They're killing everyone who won't be around or be believing. And it gets to a point where Riley's mom is with Aaron Green and Sarah Gunning and the sheriff and the kids. And Bev's about to burn their house down, and she knows the only way to stop Beverly is to go out and talk with her.
I think I can buy you enough time if I go out there and I call this lady a bitch.
And that's my favorite scene of the show.
It's so good.
It's not even bitch. Bitch would be less of what she says. Because to be called not a good person by like an old school Christian mom, I'm like, ow. Beverly Keene, you are not a good person.
Yeah.
God loves my son as much as you, and that bothers you. She just goes like Old Testament on her ass about like forgiveness and God. And I'm like, dude, you're killing her like so hard right now. And then as soon as Beverly's like, this is a distraction,
go around back.
Riley's mom cuts her fucking throat open to draw the vampires in.
I was not prepared for that.
That was insane.
But I mean, it's a good move. Like she knew it would work. She just saw everybody die and come back to life. So she's like, all right.
Father Pruitt, meanwhile, has seen like 40 people wake up and eat each other. There's blood smeared all over his church. And he's like,
Yeah. After he got shot in the head.
Yep.
Yeah. And we forgot the sheriff does end up there, but his son wants to take communion. And he's like, don't fucking do that.
Yep.
And that was tough because they're holding him down while his son does it. And that's right before everything pops off.
It works out in the end. Beverly thinks it's brilliant to burn every building in the fucking island.
Love it.
Except the church, because she's like, then we can all go to either the church or the rec center.
Yeah.
And that will keep us safe. Turns out it doesn't. And also she starts taking leadership.
Yeah, because Father Pruitt's like, this is not what I had planned. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This one really got away from me.
Yeah, I lost my cool.
Yeah.
And she starts commanding who is allowed. And then Sturge is friends with a guy who's not a Christian. He's like, yeah, he's always nice to me. So I thought I'd save him. And the guy's like, I ate my wife.
Yeah. I killed
and
my
she's
kids.
like, sorry, there's no room for you in here. And Sturge's like, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I like
you want to
you.
go sit by the beach
Or something. And yeah, that's when Father Paul's like, nope, no. There is room for everybody in this church, room for everyone to be saved. But that's when he sees Sarah Gunning throwing gasoline all over the church. And that's when he says, "You're my daughter. I'm proud of you." And his journey is amazing because at this point, all of the other bullshit goes away and he just becomes a father, and he just goes with Mildred and he takes Sarah's body, and they just like he doesn't go out as a Christian, he just goes out as a dad.
Yeah, he takes the collar off and throws it in the little creek there. It is, I mean, it's so sad. He has the best intentions.
He thinks he's doing the right thing.
He really does. He truly believes it. And it just falls apart on him because you brought a bat. You brought a giant vampire bat.
Yeah.
Man, it's not going to go well for you ever.
Every party that starts with Sandstorm ends horribly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Sheriff Hassan, though, he is going to burn down the rec center and Bev stops him. But then Hassan's kid comes forward as a vampire boy, but burns the rec center down.
Yeah.
And they can't go to the church because the church is burning. There's nowhere to go. So they all just go off to die their own way.
Yeah. What's the line that Bev says, like right before the sunlight? She's like, well, I guess you should have brought more gas or something, or you need another person. And then Aaron comes out and she's pouring the gas, and then the bat vampire swoops down and takes her out.
What Aaron does is incredibly important. I think she maybe brought the lighter.
Yeah.
But what Aaron's doing is having the angel focus on her and feed on her, and she's slowly cutting in all of these holes in the wings.
Yep.
So the angel will not be able to fly 30 miles to shelter anywhere because the angel can't be in the sunlight.
Yeah.
So the angel can't fly because Aaron, as she's slowly passing away and speaking her truth to life and death, Warren Flynn and Lisa Scarborough are paddling out on the water. She can't feel her legs again, which is the worst good ending.
Yeah, it means like, okay, it's out of your system.
It's like, great, you're paralyzed. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
High five.
We're going to get you a brand new chair.
And they become vampire hunters. The end.
Yeah. We do get the awesome visual of Bev trying to bury her head in the sand.
Yeah, she waited way too long.
Panicking. I felt
she should have started digging a hole in the first second, realizing that. Or also, there's a way to find some shade, I believe.
I mean, she's basically just doing the Minecraft thing, where if you don't build a house or a shelter in the first day fast enough, you dig straight down and you just put some dirt on your head, and then you're fine for nighttime.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic show.
Yeah. Really, really psyched for The Fall of the House of Usher. Is that the full title? Am I saying that correctly?
Yep.
The next show by these guys coming out on Netflix. Jamie couldn't tell us too much about it, obviously, because it's a show that's not out yet, and he didn't want to spoil anything.
I did try and pry some things out that I already knew the answers to. One of them was like, is it going to be a modern retelling, like a contemporary? And he wouldn't say, but I already know one of the actors mentioned like that they were having to do a lot of text messaging stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
We talked a little bit about the kind of horror movies I liked, and he said it would be right up my alley, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, he said it'd be like kind of more gory. Yeah.
And you just watched Evil Dead 2013. You can see why I like certain types of movies.
Evil Dead 2013 was not good.
I love it.
Rise was better. I'm excited for Creepshow as well, which is going to have Samantha Sloyan and another Ruth Codd, fantastic actress. Midnight Mass is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, I'm glad I took the time to actually watch it.
A whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rare. I don't usually do that.
I don't think we should rank TV shows. We rank movies, and that makes sense because it is a movie. I mean, we could rank Midnight Mass because it's a finished show, but like we talked about The Boys and Stranger Things before, and it's like neither of those shows are done, so it seems odd ranking something that's incomplete. Because if I ranked Game of Thrones after season 3, it'd be like, yo, But after season 8, it'd be like, no.
Yeah. And who knows if Stranger Things is going to fumble the bag at the end, or if The Boys is just going to keep getting better.
It will.
Because The Boys is...
They've started releasing promo stuff for the new season of The Boys.
I'm just glad that they were able to get it all done before the writer's strike so that I can at least enjoy one of my shows and it wasn't paused.
Yeah. Mad props to the writer's strike and the actor's strike and the UPS strike happening later this year, probably.
Way to go, writers.
Get it. But ranking for me, I would say 10 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of 10 show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfectly paced. It's just long enough. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It is fantastically acted all the way through. It's got more character arcs than a fucking rainbow. Does that make sense?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pride Month, baby.
Yeah. No, I love it. 10 out of 10.
Watch it. If you listen this far and you didn't, then you're foolish.
What are you doing?
Why?
Yeah.
Thank you. Major thanks to our executive producers, Ryan, Phil, Kip, Brian, and Jordan. Y'all are the best. Part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. Check out those other shows. Stay classy.
I'm going to go listen to Darude Sandstorm.
I'm going to go listen to some old Christian hymns, because if you buy the vinyl for Midnight Mass, turns out the whole first record is just like hymns from church sung by like 10 dudes who haven't hit puberty.
Damn. Yeah, you have fun with that.
Were you there when they crucified
Neil Diamond's on the B-side, right?
No, there's no Diamond.
Man.
The Newton Brothers get to some moody shit, which is good, but the hymns, I'm like, wow, this better not be 3 records of hymns, but it wasn't. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next time.
Later.